The Awakening. The Solaris Prime colony gleamed like a jewel against the backdrop of space, its massive biodomes visible even from orbit. Commander Ilara Quinn stood at the observation deck, watching as the terraforming machines steadily transformed the once barren planet into a habitable world. 7 years of human ingenuity and perseverance had turned this distant outpost, 40 light-years from Earth, into humanity's most ambitious project yet. "Commander, you should see this," called Lieutenant Ravi Petal from his monitoring station. His voice carried an edge that made Ilara's skin prickle. She pushed away from the railing and moved to his console. "What is it?" "Unknown vessels approaching from the Cygnus quadrant. 3. No, 5 ships. Nothing like I've seen before." Ravi's fingers danced across his console, bringing up the long-range scans. The ships were unlike any human design, angular, with jutting protrusions, and a surface that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. Ilara felt a chill run down her spine. Solaris Prime had been broadcasting its location for years, hoping for peaceful first contact, but something about these vessels felt predatory. "Have they responded to our hails?" she asked. "No, Commander. I've been trying all frequencies, standard protocols, even mathematical sequences. Nothing." Ilara straightened her uniform. "Alert Governor Chen. I want all non-essential personnel moved to the emergency shelters, just as a precaution." As Ravi relayed her orders, the communication screen flashed to life without warning. The face that appeared made Ilara take an involuntary step back. It was vaguely humanoid but with skin like polished obsidian, eyes that glowed with an inner bioluminescence, and no discernible mouth. When it spoke, the words seemed to form directly in her mind rather than through the audio system. "Humans of Solaris Prime. I am Overlord Sekthar of the Voidborn Collective. Your expansion ends here. Your resources are now ours. Submit or perish." Before Ilara could respond, the screen went dark. Seconds later, the observation deck shuddered as the first attack hit the colony's outer shields. "They're firing on us," Ravi shouted, his console erupting with warning signals. "Shields at 80% and dropping." Governor Chen's voice came through the emergency channel. "All colony personnel, this is not a drill. Proceed to emergency shelters immediately. Defense teams to your stations." Ilara knew it wouldn't be enough. Solaris Prime was primarily a scientific outpost with minimal defensive capabilities. They had never anticipated needing more. Humanity had been at peace for over a century. "Ravi, we need to get to the deep space communications array," she said, grabbing his arm. "We have to warn Earth." As they raced through corridors already filling with smoke, the colony's structure groaned around them. More explosions followed, each closer than the last. The Voidborn weren't just attacking, they were systematically destroying everything. The communications center was in chaos when they arrived. Most of the equipment was already damaged, consoles sparking and screens shattered. "The main array is down," a technician shouted over the alarms. "We can't get a signal out." Ilara pushed past him to a sealed panel at the back of the room. "There's still the quantum entanglement transmitter. It was installed for emergencies only." She pressed her palm against the scanner, and the panel slid open to reveal a small device, unlike any standard communications equipment. "Will it work?" Ravi asked, his face streaked with soot. "It has to." Ilara activated the device and began recording. Her voice remained steady despite the chaos around her. "This is Commander Ilara Quinn of Solaris Prime. We are under attack by a species calling themselves the Voidborn Collective. They came without warning or provocation. Our defenses are failing. Thousands are already dead. This is not just an attack on our colony. This is a declaration of war against humanity. Send help, and may God have mercy on them when you do." She pressed the transmit button just as the ceiling began to collapse. The quantum signal, instantaneously connected to its paired receiver on Earth, would deliver her message across 40 light-years in an instant. Her last thought before the darkness took her was that she had done all she could. Now it was up to Earth. In the darkness of space, the Voidborn ships continued their methodical destruction, their weapons cutting through the remaining defenses with ease. They had expected no resistance. They had no idea what they had just awakened. In a nondescript office building in Geneva, Admiral Marcus Chen was reviewing personnel reports when his secure terminal chimed with an urgent alert. His coffee cup froze halfway to his lips as he read the message. Quantum entanglement transmission received. Source: Solaris Prime. Priority: extinction level. He set down his cup with careful precision and entered his authorization codes. As Commander Ilara Quinn's message played, his face hardened into stone. When it ended, he opened a secure line. This is Admiral Chen. Authentication code Dragon 7 Omega 9. Initiate protocol Dragon scale. This is not a drill. Across Earth and throughout the solar system, hidden doors began to open. In underground bunkers, abandoned mining stations, and camouflaged asteroid bases, lights flickered on for the first time in decades. Humanity had presented a peaceful face to the stars, dismantling its military after the unification wars of the 22nd century, or so the public records claimed. The truth was more complex. While peace was genuine, wisdom had prevailed in the highest levels of Earth's government. Project Dragon Scale had been established, a contingency so secret that only a handful of people knew of its existence. If humanity ever faced an existential threat from beyond, the dragons would awaken. Marcus stood at the window, looking out at the peaceful Geneva skyline, citizens going about their lives, blissfully unaware that everything was about to change. His assistant entered without knocking, her face pale. "Sir, the Security Council is assembling, and he's here." Marcus nodded. "Send him in." The man who entered moved with the fluid grace of someone half his age, despite the gray at his temples. His eyes held the quiet confidence of someone who had seen the worst of humanity and still found reasons to hope. Captain Nikolai Reznov had been the most decorated officer in Earth's fleet before the disarmament. Now, officially, he was a professor of agricultural science in Novosibirsk. "It's been a long time, Admiral," Nikolai said, his Russian accent still evident after all these years. "Not long enough, old friend. I had hoped we'd never have this conversation." Nikolai's smile was grim. "We both knew better." Marcus handed him a datapad with Ilara's message. Nikolai watched it once, his expression unreadable. "The Voidborn," Nikolai said. "What do we know about them?" "Almost nothing. No prior contact. No diplomatic exchanges. They just appeared and started killing. Then they have made a grave miscalculation." Nikolai set the pad down. "Is my ship ready?" Marcus nodded. "The EDF Nemesis has been maintained in full operational status, as have all vessels in the Shadow Fleet. Your crew is being awakened from their civilian postings. Weapons platforms disguised as research stations are coming online throughout the outer system." "How long?" 72 hours until we're at full combat readiness. The Voidborn will expect reinforcements from Earth to arrive in conventional ships at conventional speeds. They don't know about our advancements." Nikolai glanced at the tactical display showing the location of Solaris Prime and their attack vectors. "And they certainly don't know about me." As they spoke, across Earth and throughout the solar system, men and women who had once been the finest soldiers and spacers in human history received the call they had hoped would never come. Scientists returned to weapon development labs hidden beneath university campuses. Engineers powered up shipyards concealed within asteroid belts. Intelligence officers reactivated networks of sensors and probes placed throughout nearby star systems. In a warehouse district in Tokyo, Commander Yuki Tanaka was teaching martial arts to children when her special phone buzzed with a notification. She read it once, kissed her surprised husband goodbye, and was in a military transport within the hour. In Rio de Janeiro, Dr. Samuel Okafor, publicly known for his work on agricultural drones, entered a private elevator in his lab that took him to a sub-basement where the most advanced AI weapon systems in human history waited for his activation codes. On Mars Colony, Governor Michael Jung excused himself from a council meeting and issued orders that transformed the civilian settlement into a forward military base within minutes, revealing defenses that the colonists never knew existed beneath their feet. The United Earth Security Council convened an emergency session as Admiral Chen presented what they knew of the Voidborn attack. "This is impossible," said Councillor Diana Mbeki. "We disbanded our military a century ago." "No," Marcus replied calmly. "We rebranded it and hid it in plain sight. Every treaty we signed had classified exemptions. Every disarmament was paired with covered advancement. We maintained peace because we wanted it, not because we needed it. The public will be outraged," another counselor protested. "The public will be alive to feel outrage," Nikolai countered. "Would you prefer the alternative?" Debates raged through the night, but by dawn, the decision was unanimous. Earth would respond with overwhelming force. The Voidborn had attacked humanity believing they were striking a defenseless species. They would soon learn differently. 3 days later, Nikolai Reznov stood on the bridge of the EDF Nemesis as it detached from its hidden dock within Ceres. The ship was a marvel of human engineering, a destroyer that incorporated technologies most races couldn't even theorize. Its hull was composed of programmable matter that could adapt to different types of attacks. Its weapons systems operated on principles that bent physics in ways that would seem like magic to most species. Around the Nemesis, dozens of other warships emerged from concealment throughout the solar system. Earth's dragons were awake and hungry. "All systems online, Captain," reported Commander Tanaka from Tactical. "The fleet is awaiting your command." Nikolai settled into his command chair, feeling the familiar connection as the neural interface synchronized with his thoughts. He had hoped never to fight again after the Unification Wars. He had seen enough death for a lifetime. But if war had come for humanity once more, he would ensure it was brief and decisive. "Send this message to all ships," he ordered. "This is Captain Nikolai Reznov of the Earth Defense Force. The Voidborn have declared war on humanity. They believe us weak and unprepared. Today we correct that misunderstanding. We do not seek this conflict, but neither will we shy from it. For Solaris Prime and for Earth, we will show them why dragons were always creatures to be feared." The massive fleet accelerated toward the jump point, their advanced drives allowing them speeds the Voidborn would consider impossible. The counterattack had begun. As they approached the jump coordinates, Nikolai received a final communication from Admiral Chen. "Nikolai, the Council has authorized Protocol Omega if necessary." Nikolai's expression darkened. Protocol Omega was the absolute last resort, a weapon so terrible it had been theorized but never tested. "Let's hope it doesn't come to that," he replied. "But if it does, I'll ensure the Voidborn understand fully what it means to awaken the dragons." The fleet vanished into the jump point, acceleration beyond light speed, heading toward a confrontation that would forever change humanity's place in the galaxy. The response. The Voidborn fleet orbiting the ruins of Solaris Prime had grown to 12 ships. Overlord Sekthar was pleased with their progress. The human colony had fallen with minimal resistance, its resources now being systematically harvested by collection vessels. The attack had gone exactly as their intelligence suggested. Humans were technologically advanced, but militarily weak, having embraced peace to their own detriment. "Overlord, we're detecting unusual energy signatures at the edge of the system," reported Sub-Commander Vexnar, his bioluminescent eyes pulsing with concern. "Elaborate," Sekthar commanded. "The signatures match no known propulsion system in our database. They appeared suddenly, as if they jumped in without using the standard routes." Sekthar moved to the sensor display, his confidence wavering for the first time. The readings made no sense. No species they had encountered possessed the ability to manipulate space-time in such a manner. "How many vessels?" "Initial count shows 57 ships, various classes, all armed. Before Sekthar could respond, the Voidborn command ship shuddered violently. Alarms blared throughout the vessel as systems began to fail in cascading sequence. "We're under attack," Vexnar shouted. "But they haven't fired weapons. They've deployed some kind of energy field that's disrupting our systems." On the bridge of the Nemesis, Captain Nikolai Reznov watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. "Quantum disruption field is operating at 93% efficiency," reported Dr. Okafor from the science station. "Their shields are failing, and their weapons systems are going offline." "All ships maintain position," Nikolai ordered. "Let them see us clearly." The human fleet had arranged itself in a perfect sphere around the Voidborn ships, each vessel positioned with mathematical precision. The message was clear. There was no escape. "Open a channel to their command ship," Nikolai said. The main screen flickered to life, showing the obsidian face of Overlord Sekthar, now visibly agitated as his ship's systems failed around him. "This is Captain Nikolai Reznov of the Earth Defense Force. You attacked our colony without provocation or warning. You murdered thousands of innocent civilians engaged in peaceful scientific work. You have declared war on humanity." Nikolai's voice was calm, almost conversational, which somehow made his words more chilling. "We are here to accept your declaration." Sekthar's mental voice projected confusion and the first traces of fear. "Impossible. Our intelligence indicated humans had no significant military capability. You dismantled your fleets after your internal wars." A cold smile touched Nikolai's lips. "Your intelligence was incomplete. We did dismantle our obvious fleets. What you see before you is Project Dragonscale, humanity's insurance policy against extinction. We can negotiate," Sekthar offered, his previous arrogance evaporating as the tactical situation became clear. "The attack was a misunderstanding." "No," Nikolai interrupted. "It was a calculated decision based on the belief that we were defenseless. You were wrong. Now you will understand exactly what that means." He nodded to Commander Tanaka, who pressed a sequence on her console. Instantly, 20 smaller vessels detached from the human fleet, moving with impossible speed and precision toward the Voidborn ships. "What are they doing?" Sekthar demanded, genuine alarm now evident in his projected thoughts. "Demonstrating consequence," Nikolai replied simply. The smaller human vessels, drone ships controlled by advanced AI systems, surrounded each Voidborn vessel. Instead of conventional weapons, they deployed a web of energy that seemed to phase through the Voidborn shields, as if they didn't exist. "Quantum entanglement disruptors active," reported Dr. Okafor. "Their atomic bonds are destabilizing at the targeted sections." On the Voidborn ships, sections of hull simply disappeared. Not destroyed by explosions or cut by energy weapons, but systematically erased at the quantum level. The effect was surgical and horrifying. Nikolai had ordered the weapons targeted only at weapon emplacements and engine systems. This was a demonstration, not a massacre. "Stop this," Sekthar projected, panic now evident. "How is this possible? No species has this level of technology." "No species you've encountered before," Nikolai corrected him. "Humanity chose peace, Overlord. We didn't choose weakness. We've continued to advance our technology in secret, preparing for precisely this scenario. What you're witnessing is approximately 10% of our actual capability." The drone ships completed their work and returned to the fleet. Each Voidborn vessel now floated powerless, weapons and engines surgically removed without destroying the life support or central sections where the crews were located. "You have a choice now," Nikolai continued. "Surrender unconditionally and face judgment under interstellar law for your unprovoked attack on Solaris Prime, or force me to demonstrate the remaining 90% of our capabilities." The bridge fell silent as they awaited Sekthar's response. When it came, the mental projection was subdued, almost humble. "We surrender." Nikolai nodded. "A wise decision. Prepare to be boarded. Your crews will be treated humanely. which is more consideration than you showed our colonists. As Earth forces secured the void-borne vessels, Admiral Chen's face appeared on a private channel to Nikolai's command console. "The Security Council is pleased with the outcome," Chen said. "You've managed to neutralize the threat without excessive casualties." "The Voidborn made a fundamental error," Nikolai replied. "They mistook our desire for peace as a weakness rather than a choice. It's an error I suspect no other species will make again once word of this spreads." "What about the survivors of Solaris Prime?" Chen asked. Nikolai's expression darkened. "Rescue teams are planetside now. Early reports suggest fewer than 2,000 survivors out of a population of 20,000. The Voidborn were thorough in their attack." "Then their surrender is only the beginning," Chen said grimly. "The Council has authorized a more permanent solution to ensure the Voidborn understand the consequences of their actions." Nikolai nodded. "I'll implement Protocol Theta, not Omega. That would make us no better than them. But they need to understand that attacking humanity has consequences that will echo through generations." 3 weeks later, Nikolai stood before the United Earth Security Council, delivering his final report on the Voidborn conflict. "The quantum marker has been successfully implanted in the Voidborn genetic structure," he explained. "For the next 10 generations, they will be physically incapable of developing weapons technology beyond their current level. The marker will allow peaceful development, but prevent any military advancement that could threaten other species." "And they agreed to this?" Counselor Mbiki asked, surprised. "The alternative was Protocol Omega," Admiral Chen replied. "When that was explained, they found our terms generous." "What of the survivors of Solaris Prime?" another counselor asked. "They are being cared for, and a memorial has been established," Nikolai said. "The colony will be rebuilt, stronger than before." Commander Ilara Quinn was found alive in the ruins of the communications center. She's been awarded the Star of Terra and offered command of the new Solaris Prime Defense Outpost. "And what of Project Dragonscale now?" Counselor Mbiki pressed. "The secret is out. Every species in the galaxy will soon know of Earth's hidden military might." Admiral Chen stepped forward. "That was always the inevitable outcome. We maintained secrecy as long as possible, hoping it would never be needed. Now that it has been revealed, it serves as both a shield and a warning." "A warning?" another counselor asked. "Yes," Nikolai said softly. "A simple one that I suspect will spread throughout the galaxy. Humanity desires peace. We pursue knowledge, cooperation, and advancement for all. But if you mistake our preference for peace as weakness, if you attack our people or threaten our existence, you will learn why, in our oldest legends, dragons were always creatures to be feared rather than hunted." As the council session concluded, news of Earth's victory spread throughout human colonies. For the first time, the public learned of Project Dragonscale and the hidden protectors who had stood ready for a century. There was anger at the deception, but it was quickly overshadowed by relief and pride. In the ruins of Solaris Prime, Commander Ilara Quinn stood watching as construction drones began the work of rebuilding. Her injuries had been severe, but advanced medical technology had saved her life. Now she would oversee the colony's resurrection, stronger and better protected than before. A communication alert chimed on her wrist device. It was a live transmission from Captain Nikolai Reznov aboard the Nemesis. "Commander Quinn," he greeted her. "How goes the reconstruction?" "Slower than I'd like, Captain, but we're making progress. I've been told you're the one I should thank for leading the response fleet." Nikolai shook his head. "I merely commanded the ships. It was your message that awoke the dragons. Without your warning, the outcome might have been very different." Ilara looked out at the horizon, where the biodomes were already being reconstructed. "Do you think they'll come back? The Voidborn, or others like them?" "Perhaps someday," Nikolai admitted, "but not soon. Word is spreading quickly through interstellar channels. Humanity presented a peaceful face to the galaxy for over a century, but when provoked, we revealed capabilities beyond anything previously seen. It will make others think very carefully before challenging us again. And if they do? Ilara asked. Nicolay's expression was resolute. Then the dragons will awaken once more. We chose peace, Commander. We still do. But we will never again be unprepared for war. As their conversation ended, across the vastness of space, word indeed spread of humanity's response to the Voidborn attack. Species that had previously dismissed humans as interesting but ultimately unremarkable now reassessed their understanding. Diplomatic initiatives increased. Trade proposals arrived. And in the darker corners of the galaxy, plans for expansion that might have intersected with human territories were quietly shelved. Humanity continued to pursue peace, exploration, and cooperation. But the warning had been delivered and understood. The dragons were awake, and they were watching.